Hello, I'm Osha Rutelone, Associate Professor from Kaunas University of Technology. Today I will host the webinar, International Marketing. The main goals of the webinar are to get the tips and tricks about global marketing environment assessment for SMEs, to find out how it's important to evaluate cultural and social environments of international markets and understand buying behavior in different cultures, to explain how SMEs could use marketing research and what research techniques may not be used in particular countries. Now, how select STP strategy for international market, understand how to choose market and try strategy and what factors influence SME selected foreign market and try decision. Define global products and services and identify the main international marketing strategies. Understand how to manage the global pricing and distribution channels. And now about practical issues when designing the marketing communication campaign. Many companies enter unfamiliar markets around the globe. The concept of doing business in these markets requires significant changes in the way commercial activities are carried out. To succeed in international markets, SMEs must collect a variety of data, preferably in systematic and clearly structured manner. Thus, the analysis of a global marketing environment is vital and urgent step. When SME selects all needed info on foreign market, it develops competitive strategy, which consists of reliable and suitable information from marketing research. To succeed in international market, SME should develop the effective and proper marketing mix that consists of product, price, place, and promotion. Every SME that seeks to sell outside of domestic market should go through the international marketing management process. Here you see the systematic process of international marketing. As indicated before, firstly, SME make pestle analysis, evaluate political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal environment of foreign markets. Then, SME should find as much as possible about the consumer using marketing research. Reliable information from the research leads to the selection of STP strategy, marketing strategy, as well as market and try strategy. The strategy leads to the effective international marketing mix. In this webinar, we will go through these stages that are situation analysis, accessing global marketing environment and making marketing research. Then the second one is development of competitive strategy that consists of segmenting, targeting, and positioning, and marketing and try strategy choice. And the third one is global marketing strategy development, that is product, pricing, place, and promotion. The macro environment is largely uncontrollable. The microenvironment is much more successful to influence or control. This is usually evaluated by using pestle analysis. While analyzing political environments, SME should evaluate local and national governmental structure, government stability, internal politics that affects business, international relations, even terrorist activity. When analyzing economic environment, SME should analyze regional economic growth indicators, exchange rates, trade policy, government intervention in the economy, employment, unemployment, inflation, and balance of payments. The analysis of social environment consists of demographics, lifestyle, education, living standards, health and welfare, immigration and emigration issues. When analyzing technological environment, SME should analyze technological infrastructure of the country, including marketing opportunities in their electronics, high-tech markets, development of biotechnology and information technology industries, as well as clean technology markets. In case of environmental and legal analysis, SME should evaluate environmental regulations in the country, global warming, pollution, green marketing, legal systems, business legislation, consumer protection issues, as well as intellectual property issues. Although governments, policies, and the laws of a country usually affect business transactions involved with that country, SMEs should be aware about trade politics instruments used in the foreign country. Every country or union, for example, European Union, apply laws such as antitrust laws. It's important to know how the foreign trade is regulated in every country. There are different methods and instruments that are tariff barriers related with price limitations and non-tariff barriers related with technical limitations, import procedures, and etc. It's very difficult to manage the political risk. Still, there are several strategies. Firstly, it's worth for SME to participate in community activities, engaging in the initiatives related with health and education in the country it wants to enter. Also, licensing and franchising are quite good in try modes. Those are not based on equity. SME also should keep dependence from the home country, but keep particular positions for the export country, that is purchasing local materials or employing local managers. While entering international market, SME should consider if it has to adapt and localize product based on local tastes. And the very important also is insurance or risk related with appropriation and political violence for SME. Let's go to economic environment analysis tips. While assessing economic environment of the host country, SMEs should evaluate these indicators of the foreign country. SMEs should be aware of gross domestic product per capita and for growth rate. The larger the country, domestic economy, the less dependent it tends to be on exports and imports relative to its GDP. Also, the purchasing power is very important to evaluate. SME should also take into account what is the structure of a country it would like to enter. The income distribution is a very important factor to consider regarding the attractiveness of the international marketing as well. The country competitiveness is also very important, and it represents by its firm's domestic and international productive capacity. You can find more about global competitiveness in World Economic Forum reports. It's also important to acknowledge with General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade and World Trade Organization documents. The cross-cultural differences are very important in international market. Culture consists of many components that interlace with each other. The language. A given gesture can have different meanings across cultures. For example, a gesture connecting the thumb and forefinger in a circle means okay in the United States, money in Japan and zero in Russia, and gross insult in Brazil and parts of Soviet Europe. People from different cultures also read facial expressions differently. While translating particular slogans, expressions, or other words for the selected market, SMEs should be very careful. The back translation can help avoid problems. Other element is social interactions among people. That is the manner in which members of society relate with each other. In most Western countries, the family unit refers to nuclear family, being the parents and the children, while in developing countries, the extended family, wider group of only remote family members. Role expectations in the family also differ across cultures. Identifying the key influencers with a given culture is often critical for targeting strategies to succeed. Countries also vary in terms of the scope of a decision, making for foreign authority. Another important aspect of social interactions is individual reference groups, the set of people to whom an individual looks for guidance in values and attitudes. Those groups have enormous impact on people's consumption behavior patterns. The fourth element is aesthetics, that refers to the ideas and perceptions that culture uploads in terms of beauty and good taste. Cultures differ sharply in terms of their aesthetics preferences. As a result, companies must often customize the design of look of products to meet cross-cultural differences in consumers' aesthetic perceptions and preferences. The religion. It plays a vital role in many societies. For example, in India, the belief in karma causes consumers to set high expectations of the quality of the product or service. In Asian countries, the philosophy of Feng Shui plays an important role in design and placement of corporate buildings and retail spaces. For instance, Disney decided to shift the angle of the front entrance gate to Hong Kong Disneyland by 12 degrees. Religion also shapes the holiday calendar in many countries. SMEs should be aware of the education level that varies considerably between countries. One powerful indicator of education is country literacy level. Also, the digital skills of the foreign country consumers and potential employees are urgent for SMEs. Value systems shape people's norms and standards. For SMEs, a crucial value distinction is a cultural attitude toward change. Societies that are resistant to change are usually less willing to adopt new products or production processes. Local attitudes toward foreign cultures will drive a product positioning and design decisions. After analysis of global environment, SME should go to marketing research stage. Given the complexity of a global marketplace, solid marketing research is critical for a host of international marketing decisions. Skipping the research phase in the international marketing decisions process can often prove a costly mistake. Marketing research assists the SME marketing manager or manager in two ways: to make better decisions that recognize cross-country similarities and differences, and to gain support from local subsidiaries of partners, for example, distributors, for proposed marketing decisions. The scope of international marketing research could be either single-country research or multi-country research. The multi-country research implementation can be sequential by running the project first in one set of countries and then subsequently in other groups. Alternatively, a project could be run simultaneously in all markets to be studied. SMEs should consider cultural obstacles while starting the marketing research in foreign countries. Here you see issues related with international marketing research. It's offered to use less text in lower educational countries. Also, the funny face scale can be used to cope with illiteracy, especially in developing countries. In China, for example, surveys that are sanctioned by the local authorities will lead to the higher response rate. Daytime phone calls will not work in Saudi Arabia because social norms dictate that housewives don't respond calls to strangers. Personal interviews are more preferred method in China, India, and Latin America. Whether the survey is to be administered in Warsaw or in Dubai, it's absolutely imperative to pretest the questionnaire. Give at least 10 people to fill it. The results of international marketing research leads to marketing segmentation that becomes especially critical because of wide divergence in cross-border consumer needs and lifestyles. Once the SME has chosen its target segments, management needs to determine a competitive positioning strategy for its products. Segmentation is usually done in 3 stages. First is understanding the needs of various consumers in the total market needs. This is commonly done through marketing research and sometimes through applying internal knowledge of the company. The second one is consumers are grouped according to their needs and characteristics. They are segmented based on various factors: geographical, demographics, behavior-based, or lifestyles. Then specific groups are selected for targeting. Segmentation implies rejecting groups that are unprofitable and don't otherwise fit the company's strategic plans. Here you see the main marketing segmentation criteria and even examples. For example, in case in geographic segmentation, examples of variables used could be geographic region, city size, or density. For example, in Austria, a major European tourist destination, vacationers are often segmented according to their country of origin because their needs, vacation styles, behavior, and so forth strongly correlate with their nationality. Targeting is the next step after segmentation. Targeting is a process of choosing segment or segments, deciding on tactical approach to marketing the products to that segment, and developing the tactics into practical actions. Here you see 4 target market strategies. The first one is mass marketing, is everybody for everywhere. Differentiated marketing, large groups with the total marketing. Niche marketing, high penetration with the smaller specialized segments. Micro-marketing is rated with individual customers or localized micro-segments. Once SME has segmented its foreign market, the company needs to decide which target markets to select and what positioning strategy to use to appeal to the chosen segments. Developing a positioning team involves the quest for unique selling propositions. The formulation of a positioning strategy, be it local or global, moves along a sequence of steps. The first one is identify the relevant set of competing products or brands. Then, SME should determine current perceptions held by consumers about your product, brand, and the competition. The third step is to develop possible positioning themes. Then, screen the positioning alternatives and select the most appealing one. Basing on that, the SME should develop a marketing mix strategy, that is product, price, distribution or place, and communication or promotion. And then SME should monitor the effectiveness of a positioning strategy and, if needed, conduct an audit. When the SDP strategy has been developed, SME should think about the competitive advantage strategy. The SME has a competitive advantage when it's able to deliver the same benefits as competitors, but at lower cost or deliver benefits that exceed those of competing products. There are several competitive advantage strategies. The first one is cost leadership. SME could achieve superior performance by producing similar quality products or services, but at lower cost. A company that tries to achieve cost advantage, like IKEA, is pursuing cost leadership strategy. The second one is product differentiation. Differentiation advantage is achieved by offering unique products and services and charging premium price for that. This strategy is used in this situation, and company positions itself more on branding, advertising, design, quality, and new product development, like Hesburger, rather than efficiency, outsourcing, or process innovation. And the niche strategy that focuses exclusively on a highly specialized segment of the market and try to achieve dominant position segment, like Porsche. The next step is the marketing and try strategy. SMEs have possibility to adopt many different approaches to select a market and try strategy. SME should start off with a larger pool of candidate countries, for example, Central European countries. Then, to narrow down this pool of countries, the company will typically do a preliminary screening. SME should minimize the mistakes of ignoring countries that offer viable opportunities for your product and wasting time on countries that offer little or no potential. Those countries that pass the first filter and scrutinized further to determine the final set of target countries. Then the country or countries have selected, the skill of and try is next important element of SME's internationalization. The access to resources, monetary or human, is one bigger constraint that determines the skill decision. Then the mode of and try should be chosen. There are several modes of and try that are indirect exporting, direct exporting, licensing, franchising, contract manufacturing, joint venture, acquisition, or even greenfield. SME should take into account advantages and disadvantages of every mode and select the most relevant one. For example, in case of indirect exporting, the main advantages are low commitment and low risk, but there are disadvantages that are lack of control, lack of contact with foreign market, no learning experience, and potential opportunity cost. In case of franchising, the situation is different. To succeed in international markets, SMEs should develop the effective and proper marketing mix that consists of product, price, place, and promotion. Therefore, For SMEs to remain in business, constant stream of new product needs to be developed in order to replace those that have reached the end of their useful lives. Additionally, companies need to add new products to the range if they are to grow. New market demands new products. SME could propose the product without change, could modify it, or even create the new one. Also, SME should think about width, depth, and length of a product assortment. Basing on the competitive strategy, SME should select strategy that is standardize or differentiate the product. The next marketing mix element is the price. The price is the only element of the mix that generates revenue. Price should relate to the market, not to the firm cost of production. Price is a process. Firstly, we set the price objectives, then we develop a pricing strategy, also determine demand, estimate costs, review competitive offerings, then select the pricing method and establish pricing policies, and finally determine prices. There are several global pricing strategies that can be used by SMEs. The first one could be used when the product has reliable patient, and it's called cream skimming strategy. The success of a strategy depends on the ability of competitors to react and the speed at which they respond. The second one is market penetration, and it is used when demand for goods is elastic to price, consumers' purchasing power is low, and many competitors are in the market. The company must aim for a minimum production and sales cost. In order to establish themselves in a particular market, more companies set low prices for goods but by covering indirect costs at the expenses of sales in other markets, for example, Japanese companies. The third one, competitor-oriented strategy. In SME should propose price depends on the competitor's good. And the last one is price and quality price strategy that is related with quality and price match. Distribution or place is the location where the exchange takes place. This may be a retail store, it may be a catalog, it may be a restaurant, or it may be a website. Deciding on the appropriate place for the exchange is not a matter of moving goods around, but rather is a strategic issue. The decision revolves around making it as easy as possible for customers to find the goods and make the purchase, and also using channels that give the appropriate image of a product. Producers need to consider the intensity of marketing coverage. There are three main distribution intensity types. The first one is intensive distribution. It seeks to obtain maximum product exposure at the retail level. It's mostly regulated with soft drinks, candy, and etc. The second one is selective distribution, when companies who want to maintain a specific quality store for their products will use selective distribution, for example, bicycles, hi-fi systems, toys, and etc. And the third one is exclusive distribution. Product is sold is only in one place in a given area. For example, Rolls stores that are exclusively distributed. Here you see the factors determining distribution intensity, and SME should take into account product type, services after purchase, and other issues when selecting the place. Promotion or marketing communication contains all the communication activities of marketing: advertising, public relations, sales promotions, personal selling, and so forth. It's important to know that all marketing communications have to be integrated. That is, communicate the same message to the target group. Developing effective marketing communication follows a 6-stage process as follows, even adding the 7th one to collect the feedbacks. We're starting from identifying the target audience. That is, decide who the message should get to. SMEs should think how big the audience will be, national, foreign markets, or even global market. When the SME should determine this response of, that is what the marketer would like the audience to do after they get the message. Then we have to choose the message, write the copy, or produce an appropriate image. Then we have to choose the channel, Decide which newspaper, TV station, social media, or other medium is most appealing to the audience. After that, we select the source attributes, decide what is about the products or company what needs to be communicated. Of course, when we calculate the cost, basing on objective and task, percentage of sales, competitive parity, or all you can afford methods. And after that, it would be good to collect the feedback, carry out the market research to find out how successful the message is. The issue of standardize versus adapt has sparked a debate in marketing communication cycles. A truly global campaign is uniform in message and often also in execution. The necessary minor changes must be made in the execution to comply with local regulations or to make the ad more appealing to local audiences. For example, use voice-overs or local actors. Typically, global campaigns heavily rely on global or pan-regional media channels. Truly, global campaigns are still relatively rare. When planning international advertising campaign, SMEs should know about differences in the message standardization and differentiation. Here you see that in case of standardization, the main part of the message is visual and the music plays a huge role. And in the case of differentiation, is verbal information is dominated in the message and the humor is very important. When summarizing the webinar, several key lessons takeaways should be excluded. I would propose always start from global environment analysis, that is PESTEL 1. Then I would propose evaluate your potential customers' needs and preferences before selecting target market, segmenting, and developing positioning strategy. Basing on selected competitive strategies, select the most appropriate marketing try strategy. And while developing the international marketing mix, you should evaluate standardization and differentiation, minuses and pluses. Thank you for your attention. And for additional references on the topic of international marketing, please go to the Module 2, International Marketing, or our e-learning platform available through the project website.